Welcome to our second module, and I would like to just discuss what's upcoming next and what are some of the assignments that some of you may have questions about. But let me start off first by reviewing our first module. Congratulations on finishing your first module, and I think for the most part things went smoothly. Of course, there are still some issues that we're trying to figure out. Tonight, I just hear from some students that the quizzes may be giving them issues regarding the timer. From my end, everything's put into 120 minutes, and yet I hear that certain students are experiencing difficulties of being timed out or lagged out around the 70-minute mark or 50-minute, even at the 50-minute mark. Some of you may have received a warning, but you're still able to complete the test, so your quiz grades would reflect that. But for those who have been locked out of the quiz before you have even reached the 120-minute marker, please email me, let me know. I am working with the IT right now, and we're emailing back and forth to see what kind of solutions we can find. And then sometime this week, before the end of this upcoming week, I will let you know what will happen with your quiz if you are the ones that are being affected by the timer. Other things that I would like to discuss, the discussion, I think everyone did a good job in presenting their thoughts, answering the prompts, and also facilitating a discussion. The main idea of these discussion forums, of course, is to discuss, facilitate a discussion among your student group, within your group, talk about their ideas, not just answer the questions that are posed there, but also add your own take on it, add your own opinions to it, and kind of foster a discussion. Because when I read these posts, some of you did an excellent job just answering the prompts, but it wasn't quite reflective or doesn't facilitate a conversation. Some of you did a better job on that, and it shows because even reading the replies, I can see that you are thinking further. You are building on that conversation from the original poster, and just hope that you can use this to broaden your learning, because you are learning much more besides from reading, besides from other activities. You're learning from each other perspective, other ways of thinking about the job market, other ways of thinking about what kind of issues or experiences your clients might encounter. A lot of you have kind of talked about what are some misconceptions, what are perceptions of career counselors, and you've covered a lot of grounds there that I think are appropriate to be talking about. A lot of people don't think about career counseling as much as a traditional psychotherapy, but what ends up happening in my experience sometimes is that people go into a career counseling and think that they will be talking about their jobs, their skills, their personality, their traits, but at some points during your discussion, you'll feel some semblance of psychotherapy may be happening there, and so you may be a first line in detecting whether there is some underlying issues, whether there's some underlying personality issues, or whether there is some family things that may be going on, and you can do some quick, not some quick, but just some of your basic career techniques, and then refer them out to perhaps a more suitable psychotherapist or family therapist. So that's kind of what the idea is behind the discussion. And if you are looking as to how I graded them, there is a rubric that I provided in your syllabus. A lot of the points that seems to be missing are referring strictly to the textbook. Please, in your discussion, just say, I read this in the textbook, and this concept from Zunker, or this discussion from Lebeau, or I read this article from Dawes and Lofquist, whoever it may be, and put that in the discussion so that I know that you are drawing your information straightly from the textbook, not only from in addition to the textbook, you are also adding your ideas to it. Okay, so the other thing I like to talk about is your assignments. Everyone has, I'm going through the assignment right now. I'm about halfway through. I hope to have them back to you at the latest by Wednesday. I will ensure that happens, even if it means I don't go to sleep, I will ensure that I will get your assignments to you at the latest by Wednesday. I'm about halfway there at this point in time. A lot of the papers I read did an amazing job just discussing the theories. I think you're getting a grasp of theories are not just concepts, but the processes, how you apply them, how you view how you're helping the clients through focusing on certain aspects. For example, in Donald Supers, you're focusing on developmental tasks. Where's my client at this point in stage in their life? What are some of the common things that they'll be experiencing, and what are the common tasks that they should need to be fulfilling in order to move forward? So that's kind of the idea you've been writing about, and I think these are a great way to explain it in a paper, talking about their strengths and limitations. Now, I know I may be a bit of a stickler on the formatting and grammars. They don't make up a huge chunk of your of the total grade, but I still do want you to look into them and make sure that for your next formal paper that you are able to address some of these concerns. When you get your paper back, you'll see that I have made some of the corrections and put my comments there, and also show some of the APA formatting that needs to be done. I like to touch on a couple of ones that I've seen as common, and I would like everyone to kind of get a sense to what they can do next time for the paper to flow better and also adhere to the APA style. I'm a stickler on this, particularly because I think if some of you want to pursue a career later in life in a faculty position, perhaps you want to be teaching, part-time teaching, and also doing your private practice, or for some of you who are aspiring to a doctoral program, these are important formatting issues that I was not taught well during my graduate course, and I hope to help you build that foundation right now and start just getting some of the basics down, so that when you are when they request for a sample of your written assignments, or that you are part of the writing together with a faculty member, doing research with a faculty member when you're doing the writing, that you have these formatting down. One of the things I would like to touch on, the first thing is every paper you turn in, every formal paper you turn in needs to have a separate APA style title page, and that should include the title of the paper, your name, the course number, your university, and the instructor's name. This is good practice, and this is helpful for some of your instructors who may be teaching you in multiple courses, or teaching multiple courses that they need to figure out which course this paper belongs to and to which student. Sometimes you may be taking a course with the same instructor in two different classes. They need to be able to sort out and not confuse the papers. So that will be helpful, and that's the purpose of it. You don't need an abstract for the purpose of this course. I think APA writing does state that you need an abstract, and I think a few of you did that, and to my surprise, and that's you went over and beyond. But just know that for any future papers, you don't need the abstract. Let me show you some of the tricks that I want you to pay attention to. I will show you one of my papers, and how once you receive the paper from me, how you can look into the comments, look into the changes that I've made to your paper, some of the suggested changes that I made, so that you can just understand how I came to the final grade for your paper. Okay, so this is an example of my own paper, my chapter 5 of my dissertation. As you can tell, it's a lot of corrections and a lot of things. So what I first want you to do when you receive your paper, you may see something like this: simple markup. You don't see anything. If your paper is on full view, you should be able to see the tracking looks a little different, but look for this little icon at the top of your documents paper. Tracking, click on tracking, track changes, drop down menu from here and click on all markup, and you will see all the comments, all the different corrections that are made, and you can compare and kind of go through some of my suggestions, some of my corrections, and see where I have where I have modified your paper, what I want you to pay more attention to the next time you write. Okay, so certain things that I want you to pay attention to as well is when you are citing a source but not quoting someone, you just need to write name of the author and the year. You don't need the page blah 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 behind it. That is only used when you are direct quoting someone, when you put quotation marks, or when you're quoting someone that are a long quotation, which is 40 words. Then you will need to add page to that. Okay, a lot of suggestions. You can look around the corrections I made to your references. For some of you have done an excellent job and seem to be already familiar with the APA style, and to you I just say job well done on that part. So again, for those who will receive the paper in return, you will see tracking. Make sure it's put on all markup so you can see all the changes I made to your paper. Okay. The other thing I want to talk about is you are being scored based on this rubric, which I've attached to your paper at the bottom of your paper. What I'm looking for, how I evaluate each of your paper, and I will be using the same rubric for all your formal papers. You will see a title, you will see formatting, APA style throughout your paper, grammar, and content, which I think it's just the body of your work, the quality of your writing, whether it is well put, organized, thoughtful, all your details are supporting the ideas that you put forward. So most of your points will usually come from your content. And each paper you will receive something like this, the mini version of it, which will where I will put the score in each box to let you know where you are in terms of the standards. The total will change according to the paper. For this paper, it's like I said, the title page and the formatting will only take a small part of your total points. Future paper, those points will change again to match the total points of that paper, that particular paper. Okay, so that's enough review. If you need a pause, feel free to pause the video. It will be somewhat long because today I will be talking also not just about our upcoming module. I'll also be addressing the resume project as well as the counseling session project. So at this time, I would like you to take out your syllabus, course syllabus, and just follow along. Let me know if you need to take a pause right now to go look for your syllabus, whether it's online or whether it is you have the physical copy of it. Okay. All right. So I am back again. All right. So let's look over this upcoming week. We are in weeks 4 and 5. This week will go from January 29th all the way through to February 9th on your calendar. And this week we are going to focus on assessments in counseling and career counseling. Particularly, we will want to focus on how these the 5 different models that are presented to you in the Zunker chapter. And in chapter 6, you'll learn more about standardized tests. And these are some of the more familiar ones and maybe some new ones to you, such as IQ tests, such as personality tests. Myers-Briggs is a very popular one, which was, of course, I think trademarked by the University of Florida. But you also know other tests like the Stanford Binet intelligence test, or even the other, what's the more popular one? It's escaping my mind right now. But as you read through these chapters, you will be able to see which assessments there are. So this is a way for you to kind of get to know some of the basics about assessments, and some of the words that you would like to remember are reliability and validity. And this may go back to your stats class. This may go to your assessment course that you may have taken or that you will take during the course of your study here at UAB. These are all important concepts that I want you to memorize, not just for this course, but also useful for when you take your NCE exam. So again, your assessment report, you will be taking an assessment report, which is in your files. When you go to the front page of your Canvas, you will look through your left-hand side and see under syllabus, you will see files. That's where all the assessments are found. And they are called, you have to take 4 assessments. Myers-Briggs is one of them. Just go through the list, go look into the assignment which will be available to you starting Monday, and you will see the different types of assessments that should be in this file, in your Canvas file. Complete them, follow the instructions, and these are due on February 9th. Okay, the instructions are there, the prompts are up on Canvas. But what I want you to know is that some of these assessments you may choose to use for your career session, which I will talk about later. So if you have any questions, if you have any difficulties accessing these assessments or this file, the file here, please let me know so I can forward these to you if you cannot find it on Canvas. So let us talk about another project that I think some of you have questions about. Which is the resume project. The resume project is basically, I want you to design your own resume. Maybe you already have one, maybe you can reuse the one that you've used to apply to this program. But what I do know is your resume is probably not up to date, or it didn't contain the most latest information unless you've just recently started polishing it. What I want you to do with your resume, polish it up, update it with some information. Then go to Google, type in Hire a Blazer, and the first link that shows up should be UAB Student Career and Professional Development. Enter the site, and you will be going down to login students here. For me, it'll show up as an instructor, but you should probably see some of the same thing. Enter your enter your login information. For some of you, you may need to register, but as a UAB student, it's free to register. You might just need to submit some of your information, password, all that good stuff in here. All right. Once you are in here, you will see this page. Let me move myself over here. You will see this page, and it should be familiar to you. What I need you to do is resume. I believe this is my docs. Add a file to your account. Add your resume there. But before we get there, not this one. I am sorry. You will upload your resume to be critiqued by Hire a Blazer, by this website. I was sure that I found it, but I completely lost it. Upload your resume. Okay, so this is where you can upload your resume. Sorry. and my face is blocking, that's why I couldn't see it. Okay, so once you upload it, you can click on need help composing your resume, and you will have all these quick tips for you to design your resume and help you have it develop. Okay, next, what I need you to do, okay, what I want you to do, not need, is to make an appointment to see a counselor, a career counselor, to do a resume review. The counselor will help you go through what can be done to enhance your resume, but also talk about some of your ideas of what you want to do after you graduate. I know for some of you, you just started a program and you're thinking, oh, now I gotta think, it's too early. Really, it is not. I would want for you to have a great base develop, and also talk about, explore options regarding your own career in counseling. Do you want to be a private do you want to go into private practice? Do you want to do a nonprofit? Do you want to do organizational work? Do you want to do skill counseling, equine therapy, vet assisted therapy, veterinarians, you work at the VA? All of these are valid questions that you can bring to your career counselor and talk about what can be done now, starting now, as you are going through your program, to prepare yourself for your future. And a lot of things can be prepared now, so that after you graduate, you're not scrambling to create your resume, you're not scrambling to asking those questions that you have right now. You can also ask whether there's internship opportunities available that you might be consider, and maybe do that in conjunction with your practicum, as you go into your practicum phase. But also look into what are some of the more local organizations that may be looking to hire counselors. So this is a helpful and free for all students. As long as you are an eligible UAB student, you should have access to all of these resources. It even has the Focus 2 here, even has other assessments that you can take to kind of match your personality, your traits, everything that you learned from last module. All right, so again, upload your resume, make an appointment to see a career counselor at your time, whatever time works for you, and do it early. I know this project isn't due until March 9th, but if you can get in a appointment now, you can get this out of the way early. And there will be prompts for that week. Once that module open up, you'll have prompts as to how I want you to write your paper. Okay, so that is it for the resume project. If you have any questions, email me as soon as possible for me to clarify some of the steps you need to take. If you have any concerns about getting the timings, all of that, we can work it out. Just contact me, as long as you contact me on time and not right before the deadline. Okay, the other big project that I would like for you to look into, that I'd like to address, is the counseling career. Now turn to your syllabus to page 10. I've laid out the full career counseling assignment and how that is done. It's divided into 3 sections, and each section will build onto each other. Well, I'll build on top of each other. Your first section is due on February 25th. This is very basic. What I would like for you to do is find someone who may benefit from some career counseling. Think of if anyone that you may know, or that you may know, a friend of a friend, an acquaintance, someone who is either considering a job change, exploring careers, someone who may be in undergrad, who is thinking about his or her major and how to move forward with the chosen major, or even a high school kid, or even middle school, even your own children maybe, to kind of discuss with them, give them a brief informal career counseling. The first part is easy. You will be using your basic counseling skills, your basic techniques that you've learned in techniques course. What I want you to do is just hold a brief session. Each session should maybe more or less be 30 minutes, and it's really up to you how many sessions you want. But at the minimum, you should be seeing your clients, your mock clients, 3 times. The first session is to learn about them. Practice your basic interpersonal skills, finding out what their hobbies are, finding out what their traits are, finding out their strengths, finding out where there are limitations, and just meet with this individual to learn about him or her, and write a 2 to 3 pages long summary of what you learned, your own take, not your own take, but your own assessment of the person. Where do you think this person is strong in? What do you think? Formulating some ideas of where do you think might be a environment, a career environment, a job environment that is most suitable for your mock clients in the future. Moving into the second part, that's where you can apply what you're going to learn in this module, assessments. You can use the assessments. There are 4 of them that are provided for you on Canvas, or you may even use the ones that I've just talked about, my focus, and have them answer it, and you'll get a whole bunch of you'll get a whole bunch of information. But what I would recommend is, because you've already tried out the assessments for this upcoming module, Myers-Briggs and all the other ones, that you can apply 2 of them. I just need 2 of these assessment and use it with your mock client. That will be for the second part. Use the assessment, and I've laid out in your syllabus what I need to see on the paper, on the report, and the second part of the report. The third part of the report, which isn't due until close to the end of the semester, will be integrating all of them. You'll have met with your client, you have written a profile about your client, you have done an assessment with your client, and kind of looked into what are some of their maybe their personalities, their strengths, and whatnot through these assessments. And then the third times, you've probably met with your client to go over the assessment, talk about the possible career choices they may have, or talk about some of the majors they might want to consider, or things as that, and then receive feedback from them of how the counseling session may have helped them explore different careers, or if the session is not helpful to them and you don't feel that the session is helpful for you, write in it why you think that is. And I don't expect you to be an expert at this, but I do think that you already possess the skills to do some basic career counseling. So that is the gist of the career counseling assignment. And under the files, again, if you go to the files, I have provided 2 examples of the career counseling. They're listed as career counseling session example. This is part 1 and part 2 are up there. Now, if you like to model after these examples, they are just worth like a B paper. Okay, so if you can add to it, if you add more details, if you add more well-constructed thoughts to it, that will help you achieve more of an A paper, so to speak. But just to let you know, these papers are worth like a B. Um, but it's a good way to kind of get a sense of what I'm looking for when you are doing your write-ups for part 1 and part 2. All right. Um, so that's it for tonight. I believe I've covered the what we have looking forward to. It is a long video, so I will lay out the timestamp for each segment so that you can jump to that segment if you don't want to sit through this whole video in one sitting. Any questions, email me, set up an appointment to meet with me. And yeah,